Hey family, hey, what's going on? What it do, and how it be. Um, we hope y'all are having an awesome weekend, right? This is what the topic we're going to have today is a little bit of a conversation, gentlemen and ladies, mainly generated by gentlemen. And this one specifically that we're going to talk about has to do with a lot of hellish stuff here, to be quite frank, and how we are hurting. We're gonna be quick. This is not gonna be a wild conversation. Hopefully we can hit like an 8 minute mark. That's what we're going for. Maybe 10 minutes, just to talk about this a little bit. Number one, we want to start off with some corrections. Last time in us talking, and before I get there, welcome in us, right? Who are almost a 1,300 plus strong, who believe in, who love after, who enjoy and have fun with, who seek, hunger, and thirst for that which is a different view. Family, welcome in. We're going to talk about Sarah Baartman today, family, right? Well, that's the name given to this black woman. We're going to have a conversation about body type, body image. This is still along the lines of talking about work. We're still in talking about work, labor, all that kind of stuff. Because again, there's a thing that a lot of women and both men do, right? And again, this will help a Father's Day here to kind of put this mess to bed about what a man's supposed to look like. Okay, we have gone way too far. You go back and you study in time. I know people want to kind of turtle shell into it's not the 1800s no more, KJ. It's not pre-Babylonian age anymore, KJ. So you talk all this stuff again. That's a man then. You got a man now. You got a woman then. You got a woman now. There's some things that are similar. Okay. This was wild information that was brought to me, y'all. Just because of the magnitude of depravity that is involved here, and I got to say it that way. This is depravity. Let's just look at the word here. Oop, and in classic fashion, you know your boy, right? Forgot to mute the sound, so my apologies on that. Nobody needs to hear that buzzing. The first correction, in speaking about last time, I was talking about that fight in Shanghai in Disneyland, right? Excuse me. I'm talking about watching out for fools. We made a comment here that we want to clarify. Number one, Bucky and the word buckhead is what we used. Okay, in certain circles, and especially in black folks, that can become a very that is a very disturbing and disrespectful term. Because Bucky is something, just from looking at online here and just studying things like your boy normally do, right? That was dealing with buck breaking. So that was the name that was given to those that our European brothers and sisters rape the men. Just to be blunt. This is why we put explicit content on this podcast, because we already know, right? Shout out to Spotify for Creators for putting on the platform, by the way. I'm just going to plug this in. For putting on a platform where your boy can speak the truth of life and godliness and health to people, right? And where we all can compare and see things in the light and in the lens of that which is a different view, right? So thank you. So I don't know any people. Maybe some people y'all know. Maybe some black folks we know, or in your neighborhood, whatever it is, right? Whatever culture you come from. Where there's some foolishness going on, we get it. Okay? We get it. But as far as black folks, normally, and Buckhead, I don't know where I was coming from with that. Maybe I was thinking of Atlanta, Georgia, a little bit. The town out there and people coming from there. Maybe they'd operate in foolishness, but Buckwheat was who I was thinking of from Little Rascals. And there are some stereotypes there with him, but normally he was trying to help folks. But still, there are some stereotypes. More or less said jive turkey, that turkey, right? This is going back into like the 60s and the 70s, how black folks used to talk. Fools, so on and so forth, right? Again, Junebug was one of them kind of nicknames that we gave to folks back then. Again, we all know from every culture somebody who is foolish. You want to stay away from them people that will drag you down, whether they're in your family or not. We ain't got no time for that, because we are pro-black over here. That does not mean we are pro-foolishness. This is not it. Okay, and you see that kind of stuff pop up on work where people are lazy. We got to take the time to talk about this. Stop making fun of your black brothers and sisters who like to work. Okay, if you on the sidelines and you don't, that ain't your thing, that's cool. But somebody got to put in some effort. Again, we looked at the word work, labor, that's dealing with effort. Same thing on the other side, dealing with laziness, with an unwillingness to do. There is a difference between massa working us on the railroad, right? All the live long day. There's a difference between that and not putting in no work at all, folks. That's your boss, okay, with the hands folded. We all know there's pictures of massa. Come on now. All right. Since people like to go to plantations as wedding destinations. But it's just a nice house, KJ. That's all right, man. I guess it's all right for some, right? For us here on the different view, it's not so much, but for some, I guess it is all right, right? At the end of it all, you got to watch out for folks with a certain mindset, okay? And Master's okay sitting there with his hands folded or her hands folded, watching you do the work. That's a problem, right? This is all hands on deck. But I digress. We can hide behind this. Well, somebody got to be the boss. This is the image that again, massa or those of an adversarial mindset gave you. You got to get your hands dirty. Everybody got to get your hands dirty. This is the lie that's been perpetrated with capitalism, family, this idea that the boss sits back. Again, this is how slavery operated. One of the best ways that money was made on these lands in the United States, family, was during quote-unquote antebellum slavery. We'll just let Snoopy play here for a little bit. Hope y'all can hear that over the fan I got going on right now. It's a little hot. So that's just that on these terms we use to describe fools. I don't want people to be led astray on that, so I want to make that correction. The second is on talking on centuries. I may have done this one before, but we're just going to say it again because I caught myself in re-listening to this on the back end here. Century, the old one is not at the end. The old one is at the beginning. So the 19th century, when we were talking about all this mess with the German zoos, the 19th century, they talk about the late part. The 19th century would be 1801 to 1900. And the 20th century would be 1901 to 2000. It's not the other way around, though. The 01 is not at the end. That's just the way they divide up time. So we just want to make that distinction. Time to get on into this, and we're gonna go on about our merry way. Again, we're gonna give y'all some more verse from the good old book of Sirach, and then we're gonna go on about our way. Sarah Baartman is a woman that is from, she's from South Africa. Okay, so she's African. This is a woman who was stuffed and put on display in Europe. Specifically, again, the head of the class, right? And they earned it. Just like as slaves, man. See, when they kind of talk about it and they try to diminish slavery, now we earned everyone. We was under the knuckle of massa, the fist, the foot, however you want to look at it, and they pushed down real hard. Every one of them. See, this is why when certain folks talk about slavery in the mind, we're only talking about it halfway, because that's actually an event that happened. Same thing when we talk about this thing with Africa. We're not discrediting that people were forcefully brought here in boats, but everybody, family, the tones you're looking at, we got that everyone is not African per se. They're a group of people that the colonizer, the explorer, the European, when they were looking at them, put them under that category because that's what they believe. They believe you could only come from there to be that dark. This is something I'm just saying. We're just presenting a different view. Okay. So this woman was born in South Africa, so on and so forth, right? Again, the Baartman part spelled Baartman. This is the name that they gave to her. Sarah, I believe some places have it as Sarah. Some have two A's. Um, and there's a whole thing you can, again, this is a name that you can look up, right? The way, let me see, the way I put it, when you are searching, let me just see if I still got it set up here. Well, I just looked at the name. I forgot the way I put it. You can just type in Sarah Baartman, right? There's another way where it's like black woman embalmed, because that's literally what they did after she died. They embalmed her and put her over in some attraction, some freak show in the 19th century in Europe under the name Hottentot Venus. Studying this woman's anatomy. Do you know how much the man, now when we say man, yeah, it's massa in them, right? But it's also men. This weird, sick kind of thing. Now, again, it's been given to them. Some of this is from every person has a base nature and such. Studying her because of her anatomy, family. That's what it is. The thick woman is what we're going to go with. When you look at images online, you find all this. She's a thick woman. Now, some of this may be exaggerated. Matter of fact, most of it's probably exaggerated. You know, as massa normally operates, okay? But this is wild, family. Why do we put on women this idea of how they must look? What is that? See, again, this is why we say when we talk about the white woman, for as much as they have joined in on massa's plan of hurting people, okay, they are a pawn in the game. Now, there are levels to this. We understand the black woman is the one. All the black and brown skin tone folks, y'all are at the head of the class, ladies, where it comes to being abused and misused. But, since they wanted to stare at the butt of Sarah Baartman over here, you should see some of these pictures here. These white men just sitting there staring. Like, you ain't never seen some of the thick white women over in Europe? Ain't all of them skinny? Come on now, somebody. We understand that the thing is, hey, the black women got more curves, and they got folks like in poetry lessons and stuff. His brother did a really cool one that they put on TikTok, again, where there's some more curves with black women. However, okay, we're not discrediting that part of it. But we acting like you ain't seeing no curves on our so-called Latin brothers and sisters. You ain't seeing no curves on our Asian sisters. There ain't everybody flat. Stop it. See again, this is where your eyes, see that the term beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I guess maybe we need to switch it and say booty is in the eye of the beholder, because for some odd reason, everything has got to be centered around all this thickness. Family, you got to know what you like. This comes back to sexual education. You got to know what you like. We're just saying what it is, and you got to be so concrete grounded in that. Know that there could be a range, okay, of medium, small, and super thick size. Why did we have to go and attack this woman, right? Berate this one woman. Now, we can take this as an example for most women, because this is how this gets down, right? The tribe, so that seems like she comes from Khoe done twice. Okay, so a tribe there in South Africa. But this is unnecessary. Take time to appreciate the woman in your life, fellas. Or if you're in a homosexual relationship, listen, same thing for ladies. We need healthy relationships out here. So I'm not worried about the homo and hetero no more. That we got to stop that. Right, and this is specifically since it's Pride Month, okay? It doesn't matter. Start having healthy relationships with each other. And they want to hate on you in the back end, and again, that's between them, you, and the maker. That to just let that rock, right? But man, love that woman for what it is. Do you know how degrading that is? You know, we had talked about this before, but it's like, so you want the woman dressed a certain way. And then when she shows herself in her femininity and her individuality, just like yours, then you sit there and you call her a hoe? What? Fellas, what are we doing? What exactly are we doing? You know, and as men, we can have this conversation, right? Because we're males. We understand we're attracted to women, right? Again, for the homosexual side, we understand as men attracted to men. We're having a conversation right now about what this is about a woman. What are we doing? You put this woman in the museum? You don't have enough God-given sense to know what you like out of a woman. We talking the attraction now, because I know everybody gets spooky, right? Church folks get spooky. We like we had mentioned. We may have mentioned it. If I didn't, we mention it now. Like this dude talking about like the man's kind of role in a romantic relationship is like you hunting a woman. You hunting a woman? What are you, like an African? You're an African hunter now or something? What are we doing? Family, this is for us to enjoy life together. If we can't do that, don't do it. Shout out to those who are not getting married and stuff like that, man. And you just chilling. It's cool. Don't get involved in something where you got to have a teamwork effort and you talking about like you a hunter. And so is she a rhinoceros, family? What are we what are we doing? It was wild. It was wild. You know, shout out to one of the folks in the family here of a different view that showed me this information. Of course, it was a lady that showed me this information. Once we were talking in conversation about this whole thing with these German zoos, she fired back with this one. I didn't even know, man. I didn't even know. We find out information from everybody, family, because it's about talking now. I'm good on this, like it's too taboo. No, it ain't too taboo. It need to been talked about. And maybe today's society, the way it is, would be in better places, and we'd have other things we'd have to be working on instead of this mess. Body types and all that stuff. Stop putting all that mess on each other. Let's read these verses and go on about our business, man. We in the book of Sirach, right? Chapter 4. Chapter 4. We're just going to read a little bit to you, and then we're going to go on. We'd already talked about being careful how we treat each other, right? Because, again, when you do that and you're hurting somebody who's down out of the bitterness and the pain that they're going through, and they call on help, man, that karma coming back to you, I wouldn't want to touch it, right? His creator will hear his prayer. That's what, or her prayer. That's what it says in verse 6 of the book of Sirach, chapter 4, right? Or Ecclesiasticus. Of course, when you look at Ecclesiasticus online, you don't get too much, because everything is just Ecclesiastes. From the agreed upon 66 books. Make yourself beloved. This is verse 7. We're just going to go on with it. Make yourself beloved in the congregation. Bow your head low to a great man. We're just talking about showing respect to folks, which is exactly what this whole chapter's been talking about so far. Incline your ear to the poor, verse 8, and answer him peaceably and gently. So we need to stop acting like we helping those who ain't got. And a lot of us ain't got. That's what the word poor means. It means you ain't got. Let me see if I still got it. I might not, because we're trying to get rid of all of the stuff on. Yeah, we still got it. Lacking sufficient money. Again, what? How do they call it today? Living living at your, not living at your means, because that's how you spend money. It's like the threshold for the poverty line, right? All that kind of stuff. This is what we're talking about. You know how many people are in that line that you think are middle class? Never mind. Lacking sufficient money to live at a standard considered comfortable or normal, right? So be gracious. How does it say it? Be peaceable and gentle to those who are poor. Never mind. Master is giving you a definition of something that's wrong. Deliver, just saying what it is. Deliver him who is wrong from the hand of the wrongdoer. Do not be faint-hearted. See, we got a lot of people giving up. Watch this now. Do not be faint-hearted in judging a case. You got a lot of people who are giving, yeah, we know we're supposed to do right, but You had them women come up to the government of Tulsa, Oklahoma, to get reparations, since we were talking about reparations with Tulsa the last time we were speaking. Nah, we ain't gonna give it to you, because then we got to give to everybody. That's faint-hearted right there. If you telling me right now, family, in this world, the one thing on the mind should not be doing right toward people, we missed it. When I said people, I mean all people. We missed it. Anyway. We're going to leave the next verse alone, because that one's going to be good for Father's Day. We'll go down a little bit further in the chapter here. Observe the right time and beware of evil, and do not bring shame on yourself. For there is a shame which brings sin, or missing it. Right? We've gone over that word sin before. And there is a shame which is glory and favor. This is kind of like Christ despising the shame that it talks about in the Bible, and he died for us and bore up the cross and all that kind of thing. That kind of shame that leads to glory and favor. There's a difference between the two. We want to make sure we are not causing shame on ourselves by acting a fool out there. That's what observe the right time and beware of evil means, right? Do not show partiality to your own harm or deference to your downfall, which means deference, partiality. See, we said a long time ago, family, that our prejudger is broken. Because it is. You can be partial to something, but not to your own harm. Do you know what it's like holding back groups of people from being? We are symbiotic in nature, family. That's the way the Maker made it. One group depends upon the other just as much as the one group is independent of each other. Because we are not honoring that, it is to our own harm and our downfall. Do not refrain from speaking at the crucial time. Do not hide your wisdom. That's verse 23, chapter 4, Ecclesiasticus. For wisdom is known, as verse 24 now. Wisdom is known through speech, and education through the words of the tongue. That's where we're going to stop, family, right? Again, we didn't want to go hard. We just wanted to bring this out here about Sarah and make some corrections here. We went a little bit over 10 minutes. Thank you, family, for walking this road with me. Again, let's stop putting predisposed things on people and appreciate the beauty that the Maker made each one of us as, right? Which leads us to say this. Thank you, family, for walking this road with me today. And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.